Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are now listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. I'm Romaran, joined by Stan C and Emil Nate here on the second half of our live stream episodes for this week. On this half, we'll be talking about NXT and some big AEW news coming out of Dynamite from this week's episode. Let's check it out right now.
All right, let's get to some NXT talk. We've got the top 12 finishers from the Women's Combine na pinakita nila sa NXT, and these are the 12 women who will be in contention for the inaugural NXT Women's North American Championship. So, hindi pa natin alam if they're gonna match them up na 1 versus 12, 2 versus 11, etc. All we know is that there will be qualifying matches. There will be 6 of them, and then the 6 winners will go on to that ladder match at NXT Battleground, which will coincidentally also be in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I love this thing. I love combine footage. It's pretty cool that they put over everyone, like 12 people, 12 women in one go, diba? By showing that they're actually athletes, that athletics matter, even though they don't quite matter as much as the video package says they do. Pero it's good kasi napapakita nila na okay, legit tong mga babaeng to, di ba? Di lang sila kung sino-sino lang napinulot from the tryouts, from the PC tryouts. So they're legit athletes. As predicted, Sol Ruca is really high up there, as I said last time. Thea Hale, Tina Brindley Reese, Tatum Paxley, sila Kalani Jordan, really legit. Some people will go, huh, who are these? Pero if you've been catching NXT at least almost week to week, you would know that these girls are not they're not small fries. They're getting reps na konti pero they have shown some real flashes of brilliance over there.
Yeah, really good stuff coming out of the combine. Just because like you said, Ro, it's not every day that they actually show yung ganyang klaseng promo, diba, to put over the women. I love how they actually had separate categories and divisions, and pinakita nila sino yung mga leader in that particular category. So that was pretty fun to me. Looking at this roster of 12 for both of you, Ro and Emil. And Emil, I know you haven't seen NXT yet. But can you pick out a name na feeling mo this is the one that they're gonna make the inaugural North American champion?
Depende. It depends on whether or not they're gonna give it to someone who is a rookie down there, quote unquote rookie, or someone dayo na main roster talent like Michin and Ivy Nile, right? So my money, I'd put it on Ivy Nile because I'm an Ivy Nile stan here, and as much as I love a lot of people here, she's my pick. But I could see them easily going for someone like Lash Legend or Sol Ruca, maybe even Kalani Jordan. So unless they really want to do right by Michin and give it to her. So it's a lot of possible people. And it's a testament to how well they've built up the mid-card na mababae so NXT. I can really see a whole bunch of people being legit NXT Women's North American Champions. Women's North American Champions here.
On this list, sobrang dami. You got the veterans, you got the main roster veterans there in Michin and Ivy Nile. You got some youngins as well, Jada Parker as well, Brinsley Reese, Thea Hale. But you know what? I'm gonna go with Kalani Jordan. I think I said last year that she really, parang she broke out nung yung Iron Survivor match, and I predicted that this year is gonna be a good year for Kalani Jordan. She's gonna break out of the spotlight and become a main, like a main player in the NXT Women's Division. So she could be a good first champion, and they could really establish the Women's North American Championship as someone for the newer wrestlers to compete. And para magkaroon ng establishment na the NXT Women's Champion are more for the Women's Champion is more for the seasoned wrestlers, and the younger crop of women's wrestlers can have something to fight over with.
Emil, di mo pinapansin si Blake.
Hey, I acknowledge
Friend of
you.
the podcast.
I acknowledge
tribal
you.
chief,
Chief, we acknowledge.
Tribal Chief. I acknowledge you.
If I had to pick from this list, I think I would go with Tatum Paxley. Siya yung dark horse pick ko for inaugural North American Women's Champion, right? I don't know, something about the way that she's improved as a character and as a wrestler throughout the Lyra Valkyria story made me feel like she's just missing a solid title run before eventually getting drafted to the main roster.
Yeah. Again, a lot of these are legit picks to win. Okay, this is still a mid card championship. It could still be anyone, and it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be as impactful as the actual women's championship.
Mm-hmm. Blake is asking, wala pa bang watch parties? Actually, the next two PLEs will start at 1 a.m. Manila time. So, I don't know, man. If you guys are game to have these watch parties,
well, okay, ganito.
You let Ro know.
No. Whether we do one or not, our friends over at Hobby Stadium are keen on doing their own watch parties kahit gabi pa yan. So, I know Blake, malapit ka sa Hobby Stadium eh. So, if you're really looking for one na kahit after midnight, that's where you go. They will do it with or without our partnership.
Mm-hmm. People have been asking about Julia. Ito si Glendale reminded me na there were a couple of people who commented about Julia not being on the list. How do you insert Julia's debut there? Well, it's simple. It's not happening yet because she still has obligations to Dream Star fighting Marigold, the new promotion of Rossi Ogawa.
Yeah, the thing is, based on the backstage news, she was brought over for to establish na okay. Julia will go to WWE, but not just yet kasi nga Rossi is starting Marigold and medyo indebted pa siya kay Rossi. So it's gonna be a while longer, guys. So abang-abang muna kayo. Manood muna kayo ng Marigold.
Parang ano yan, parang NBA draft pick na stinash muna overseas.
Yeah.
That's basically what's happening. Yeah, the Ricky Rubio. That's basically what's happening with Julia here. Relax lang kayo. We know Julia's heading to NXT. We just don't know when. It's the most recent example.
Yeah.
We could have gone with like Manu Ginobili or whoever. But I think Rubio was like
Ginobili.
Yeah, remember that? They called him Ginobili.
Yeah.
Albert's asking, are they going to bring in NXT talents to Marigold? Actually, wala tayong alam. We just know that form of connection.
At this point, since Charlie Dempsey went to AJPW anyways, and Shayna went to Bloodsport, all of that, Charlie went to Bloodsport, it's not out of the question anymore. We are in this age na pwede na yan.
Malay mo, bigla na may sumipot sa GCW. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. All right, let's skip on over to AEW and talk about the big angle that they ran at the very end of Dynamite. So the Elite have been running roughshod over Dynamite the last couple of episodes. Yung OBB just features Okada, Jack Perry, and Nicholas and Matthew Jackson. And they've really been throwing their weight around as the EVPs, diba? So now we find out that there's going to be anarchy in the arena dito sa Double or Nothing 2024 as decreed by the other EVP, Kenny Omega, and he's assembled Team AEW. So it's FTR, who came to help Kenny Omega last week. You have Eddie Kingston, who still has issues with the Bucks, and a surprise Bryan Danielson, who's now medically cleared.
Yeah. Tawag doon. It's okay. It makes sense. Yes, it makes sense on its face. Pero I know Kingston makes sense. Bryan makes sense. Yes, because he faced Okada earlier this year, right? So it's just that okay, they rushed this again because how did Brian get here? How did they pull him from that, diba? And then at this point, um, are they going to explain it afterwards? Say I've seen already a lot of AEW creative decisions that okay, I am waiting for them to explain it, but they never get around to explaining it. And okay, it's already a bad habit because it's a hit or miss. Either the wrestlers working the story are obligated, they feel obligated to explain it, or TK, just skips over it and just says, "Okay, this is your match. You accept it for what it is." So naman ang gusto ko. Obviously, FTR was going to be the backbone of Team AEW. Sana naman explain ni Kenny why Brian Danielson, right? He just said, "Okay, these are your guys. Diba? Here's your two other mystery guys teaming up with FTR." That's what he said, diba?
Yeah.
And
Tsaka bakit game na si Brian to work with Eddie Kingston when last we heard, even though Brian now has to respect Kingston, he still doesn't like Kingston.
yeah, but he's not working with Kingston. He's working with FTR, diba? So to defend AEW again, those are things that I wish or I hope they would explain in the coming weeks because it's only a couple of weeks until Double or Nothing, right?
Yeah.
So because they're rushing this, na sacrifice naman yung kwento. But okay, we'll see. I'm jumping the gun here. I want to let it play out, but this is just the watch out I have.
The Brian inclusion is also so random for me because if you would remember weeks back, I was saying maybe the Anarchy in the Arena will involve the BCC and the Don Callis family, that was the ongoing feud before Dynasty, and I think ngayon they're still ongoing because Moxley and Takeshita are gonna have a collision for the New Japan Heavyweight Championship. So medyo random talaga yung inclusion ni Brian dito, and like maybe they're gonna explain it in a week or two, but it just felt so random. And the Anarchy in the Arena felt so random as well because just because it's gonna be Double or Nothing, need natin magkaroon ng Anarchy in the Arena.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of like Survivor Series. Na forget Survivor Series, we need to have a 5-on-5. Even though storyline, there's nothing really that the parang wala talagang need for it. So I don't know. We still have like 2 weeks or before Double or Nothing, so maybe they're gonna rush the build up once again, and then the match will turn out to be a good match. Pero ganun yung habit nila. Like this is something that we have seen before and we have called out so many times before, and it is what it is.
Yeah, this is the third time in a row that Brian Danielson is an Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Nothing. So third straight year, second straight year that Brian is facing the Elite at Anarchy in the Arena. So it's kind of weird na it's always the same guys. Eddie Kingston, like 3 of the last 4 Anarchy in the Arenas, he's been part of it. So I don't know why it's always the same guys. I don't know why they didn't build up to this much sooner. I mean, I get it in terms of like working backwards, diba, yung reveal na the Young Bucks and Jack Perry were working together, or even introducing Okada into the mix. But something about it feels
Dynasty,
weird.
Yeah. It's just it is the pitfall of the 3-week turnover, the 4-week turnover ng pay-per-view calendar. I mean, WWE had this problem. It's just that eventually they learned how to work properly within the context, within the system.
Mm-hmm. All right. Staying with AEW, let's move on to Swerve Strickland losing all his friends. Last week, Ro, tinanong mo, nasan tong mga ungas na to? Where was the Mogul Embassy when Swerve was getting attacked by the patriarchy? And now here they are, aligning with the patriarchy against Swerve. And curiously missing was Prince Nana.
Yeah, and then they turned on Swerve after no. And then most importantly though, the one note that I was hoping that they would hit when this happened, they did that when Excalibur said na, or were they doing this kasi napag-iwanan sila ni Swerve when he was being pushed to the World Championship? And that was the note that I was looking for kasi that's how it all makes sense, diba? Like everyone is now turning on Swerve kasi for the most part Swerve was also being a dick to everyone else. So for this particular context, I like that they really use the circumstances that got Swerve here and it showed okay, we kind of did forget about the rest of the Mughal embassy, but now we didn't forget them, and now what they did aligns with what happened to them. So I like this. It's again, we're rushing this because it's 2 weeks until, or 3 weeks, uh counting today's episode, 3 episodes until Double or Nothing, right? So they did that because without much build up, even right now we're still coming to grips with the idea of Christian being the EVP appointed challenger. So okay na rin, okay na rin to. I like this move. It's not the biggest story on the card, but compared to the Elite versus AEW thing, they're telling it much better.
Di ko alam kung nakalimutan ni TK na may Mogul Embassy pala, or they are deliberately separating the Mogul Embassy from Swerve when Swerve was
I
getting
think it
that
was the
push.
latter. Because you can't really have Swerve be an underdog babyface when he has these three big dudes who could beat up Samoa Joe.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so this was the right move kasi I don't know, they're not even together anymore. So for
I mean, they were
for
supposed to be together, diba? Swerve was expecting them to be together. And then yun pala, hindi siya rest back.
Oo. Kaya nga nagano sila eh. Galit sila eh, diba?
Yeah, so it was the right move. It did make sense for the storyline, for the embassy to turn on Swerve. The most interesting thing here is Nana was not even there. So where does his alliance lie? To sa embassy ba or kay Swerve? So that's something that we're gonna find out in the next weeks to come.
Earlier, Ro, you touched on the fact that there are only so many episodes until Double or Nothing. But when you think about it, AEW, like WWE, has three main TV shows about Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision.
Yep.
So much TV time there, and yet hindi nila na maximize in terms of building up these stories.
We didn't have Collision last Saturday. That's one. So the NBA playoffs are fucking with AEW right now. So I get it. At the same, I kind of get that as well.
Sayang lang because like Rampage, for example, is really just relegated as a C show, diba? Nobody cares what goes on Rampage, and then
you should watch Rampage.
To be a big deal. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make it not must watch. It's just that nobody pays attention to it. I don't pay attention to Rampage just because it doesn't affect what goes on in Dynamite. Diba?
It does. It does. It doesn't affect the big stuff that goes on in Dynamite.
Yeah, fine, the big stuff. But you watch an episode of Rampage, or whenever I happen to watch an episode of Rampage, after that I'm like, oh, how's this gonna affect yung Dynamite or Collision? Nakaka-disappoint lang because I feel like the TV time isn't maximized.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, you do have it is also still load management, diba? As much as we do want to have everyone show up on every show, that's also not physically feasible. So I get it, and also it's not feasible for us because we're gonna say, oh, you're oversaturating this or that guy, diba? So mahirap din. It's a juggling act that I understand. It's just that Tony Khan needs help writing all of these things.
Hey, it's Nikki Porter, and I'd like to invite you to catch the episodes of Nuggets of Nikki, a podcast where I share bite-sized insights as a relationship coach, because in case you haven't noticed, healthy relationships these days seem very hard to come by. Everyone seems to be dealing with their own ish, right? They don't want to commit when they deep down want a relationship. They want to connect with their partner, but they ignore them instead. They know that something's bothering them, but they don't tell their partner, so they resent them over time. You know, the usual stuff. So how do we navigate through all of that, especially if you want a relationship that lasts? Well, as cliche as it sounds, it really, honest to God, begins with you. Through each episode, we'll work through all the different variables at play that might be keeping you from becoming an empathic partner by first figuring out how you can be a worthy partner for yourself. If this sounds like your type of podcast, be sure to give Nuggets of Nikki a follow. Then let's get to it.
All right, we're going to close things out with one last topic, and it's about Sky Blue. And this is something that happened just earlier during the Ring of Honor tapings. So, merong nag-post sa Squared Circle on Reddit that there was somebody in the front row who was making these vulgar comments about Sky Blue, commenting on her body, just really making her uncomfortable with this verbal sexual harassment. And he wouldn't stop, even when people were telling him to really shut up, diba? He just got louder. So, si Aubrey Edwards yung ref nung match ni Sky Blue, and then she screamed for this very unruly and rude fan to be kicked out by security. So, yung AEW security and the arena security, they got involved. They took this guy out. And more people were called when this guy actually put up a fight. And the worst part was, this person had a child with him. So sinabi rin nung nag-post sa Reddit that Sky Blue left the ring quickly and was very visibly upset. So, just a terrible thing to happen, obviously. And I can't believe na ganito pa rin, in the year of our Lord, 2024.
Yeah, this guy made Canada look really, really bad, right? Like, you would think about the stereotype is Canadians are friendly or nice, but this one guy in Edmonton was apparently not the case. Obviously, you guys here watching and listening to the show, you guys know why this does not fly. Whether you're a man or a woman commenting on a woman or a man, that's keep it in, right? As someone who is horny, like and attracted to women, like I'm gonna appreciate them, but I'm not gonna make people uncomfortable by being loud with my thoughts. And obviously, your intrusive thoughts are winning that guy for that guy, and he couldn't shut up. But let's be respectful of the people we're watching, whether they are women or men. They're here to look good, yes. They're here to entertain, but that does not give you the right to say whatever you want about them. Because that's not what free speech really is, right? Free speech is you also being aware of the consequences of what you have to say in public. So I hope that none of you here have to be reminded of this. I would assume that you guys here are decent enough people to know that this is not okay behavior. And if you're new here, if we don't know you, please know that this really isn't legit decent behavior, no matter what the person in front of you in the ring is wearing.
Yep, it's definitely not cool. Plus the fact na hindi porket bumili ka ng ticket, you have the right to say anything you want to anyone or to any of the wrestlers or to any of the fans. 2024 na. These things are not cool. It doesn't make you cool to say these things in public. So nakadismay lang na meron pa rin taong mga ganito who are some of the bad apples, as people say. And I do hope now we get less or we get no more fans like these in our wrestling shows because it ruins it for everybody.
What's messed up is that Aubrey had to go tell security to look for this guy instead of security not figuring out and not clocking na, okay, may nangyayari dito sa front row. Somebody is saying some shit and people around him are visibly, not cool with it. So parang where were the security team there? Why weren't they aware? So yun lang naman. Sayang na kasi you really it took for the match to end and Sky Blue being upset for them to do something.
Yeah. Some people might think na baka sa US lang nangyayari yan or sa Canada doon mas mapangahas yung mga tao, but even locally this has actually happened. I can think of a specific example from 2016 when the WWE was here. There was this guy who had a very up close view of the ring, and during the Sasha Banks match, this guy was taking pictures of Sasha habang naka-elevate yung crotch niya because Sasha is a submission wrestler. She was grappling with whoever her opponent was at the time. I think it was Charlotte Flair. And then pinost niya yung pictures niya, and then pinagyayabang pa niya na I got the money shot. And it was a picture of Sasha with her crotch na naka-elevate and in full view of his camera lens. And I had to call it out. And say na, hey, that's not cool. Bastos yan. Why are we still behaving like this in 2016? And then he blew me off and said na ang corny mo or ang snowflake mo or something of the sort.
Mas corny nga siya.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, super corny shit.
And
the first time you've seen a crotch?
Yeah. What's worse is this is one of the dudes who camps out regularly at hotels trying to get pictures and autographs with the wrestlers. So, it's terrible behavior. Fans should be better. Across the board, we have to be better because if not, there are consequences to your actions, and one of those consequences is hopefully people putting you on blast and letting you know that your actions are not okay.
See, I don't know if it was the same guy, but it was also someone in the front row. But Soraya already pointed to this guy during TV time. This was after the break. So he got kind of shown on camera. Medyo hindi lang nakita masyado, but he was he was put on the spot. So I hope that, I don't know if that's going to be enough to change him, but I hope he gets shamed enough into changing.
Yeah, we're not gonna sit here and say now we hope these people get shamed, but if it takes you being shamed and put on blast on a public platform for you to realize na mali ka, then that's probably what it's gonna take. Ginusto mo yan.
Yeah, I just hope that it doesn't it doesn't stop Sky Blue from being herself and wearing whatever she wants to wear out there.
Mm-hmm. All right, time for us to wind down. So let's get some plugs. Emil, you look sharp. Saan ang lakad mo ngayon?
Wala naman, I just decided to look good here tonight for the stream. For plugs wala naman, just follow the pod and on social media platforms. Also follow me on all social media platforms at EML_Meister.
Kala ko pa-plug mo na you can now be booked for like other responsibilities now that you've passed the civil service exam.
Di pa kaya.
All right, Ro. Are we still gonna plug DexCon if it's basically sold out?
I don't know. Should we, Boss Martin? Wrestling? Should we still promote it? I don't know. May tickets for the Gen ad? I don't know. Are they still here? Are y'all still here?
Dudumugin pa bang Brawl Pit Bulusan from the outside?
I guess, probably. But anyway, hey, why not? Check nyo na rin kasi ABL was able to get tickets earlier. So, akala niya sold out na sa Helix Pay. Pero, meron pa pala. So, dexcon.helixpay.ph. Malay mo, baka meron pa. So, go check that out. I don't know if Republica tickets are definitely still on sale, I believe. I believe so.
Para may package deal na rin, diba? With DexCon and Republica.
Yeah.
So, go check out yung mechanics nasa Facebook page of both DexCon and MWF.
Yeah, yun lang naman.
Mm-hmm. For me, no PBA for the rest of the weekend because I'm off to Siargao for hosting. So I will catch you all, or we will all catch you on Monday or Tuesday, whenever we decide to record picks of the week and our weekend reactions, depending on what goes on sa SmackDown, Collision, and barring anything shocking or controversial that happens or gets broken over the weekend, diba? But we got to say thanks to everybody who tuned into the podcast, whether you tuned in from the start or sumusulput-sulput lang or joining us in between. For those people who commented and engaged with us, we really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for making us a part of your weekly wrestling diet, and we hope that you continue to listen to us for your wrestling picks, whether it's news or analysis or just our thoughts on the business. And we also want to say thanks to Babyface producer Jasper and everyone over at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. We really appreciate it as well. You can follow us and continue to talk wrestling with us on social media. It is at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and on Twitter. Everywhere else, it is at Wrestling Podcast. Individually, it is at Rois War, at EML_Meister, at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. On behalf of Ro Moran and Emil Nate, as well as Chino Liao and Rowan ASH, who can't be here tonight, my name is Stan C, saying stay safe, stay healthy and hydrated, and don't be a dick. Later, outcasts.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.